Hello, hello, everyone. Today we're going to be unpacking a specific shadow, which we'll find out what that is first, so you know if you want to stay or not. So we're going to unpack a specific shadow, so Sacred Wounding's archetypes, and we're going to go through the foundation mat with a six-sided die using tarot and the Sacred Wounding's regular deck. So essentially, this gives us the opportunity to see through tarot and also to see through in what ways did this shadow erupt or in what ways did this shadow grow from what. So it depends on how it comes out on the board. So we're using the foundation mat, and this is the one that has the spirals of connection. It has the 4 pillars. It has the left and right bridge, the guards at the gate, and then the labyrinth. So we're going to start by putting one of the archetype wounds, shadows, into the labyrinth, and then we're going to go around the board. So I'm trying to show you different ways to use the mats in combinations with different oracles. You don't have to use Sacred Woundings. You can use any oracle deck. So we're going to start with this being box 1. My cat got to it a little bit. And we're going to be looking at this specific shadow. The wound of the rusted key. I'm laughing because actually I'm gonna try to remember. If I don't remember, then I'll put it at the end or something, or in a different video. But I just posted a video. Both Bethany and Aaron both sent me keys within the last few days as like a gift. So I'm gonna try to remember to put that video in. Okay, so I want to film this before I go inside so that you know I'm not near a marker. So Erin sent me, make sure I'm covering our addresses. She sent me this letter. It's an envelope. And on it, they wrote the number 4 in permanent marker. In my mailbox with it was this, which is something that I ordered that I'm testing out as like a test round. And there's something in here that I'm going to be sending Bethany and Aaron to help me test it. It comes in a set of 4. And I'm just noticing, I think the reason they wrote 4 is because she put 4 stamps on it, because it's like a thicker envelope. So I think that's why they wrote 4, but it's just it getting here at the same time as this, because Aaron doesn't know what this is. They don't even know that I've ordered this. They don't know what this is. So I'm filming this because she's going to laugh really hard. Anyway. Okay, opening it. There's a story behind. Yesterday, I got a package from Bethany that should have gotten here earlier. Like, Bethany sent one to me and Aaron at, I believe, the same time. But Aaron got hers way before mine, and mine looked like it had been through a battle. Anyway, it arrived yesterday, which was very symbolic for other things that happened yesterday. So these are like charms, right? On the necklace. Now I have a key from Bethany and a key from Aaron. And I was going to send them each one of these. What do these look like they could be to you? Game pieces, like Monopoly tokens almost? Like you could use them to move it. And look at this color. I took my Blueprint mats and I designed a conversational, meant to bring the community together, game type version of it. And I was gonna send it to Bethany and Aaron so that we could all test it out. I didn't tell them about this. And without knowing it, they both mailed me game pieces, symbolically. Bethany's got here the day before, and this chain came the same day that I put this bracelet on for the first time. And then Aaron's pieces, which is also a key. There's a key on both of them. Aaron's got here the same day as the mats themselves, and it just happens to be the same color. And yesterday, after I opened Bethany's key, I said, go look at my merch website and look at the new collection that I had just put up a few hours before I opened the envelope from Bethany. The Blueprint Key series. The collective blueprint. I need to go process this. Thank you, Aaron. And just so you see, I'm not lying. It comes in. It's technically a placemat. So 1, 2, 3, 4 comes in a set of 4. So I have a letter here from Bethany, but it does not feel like a letter. It feels like there's something in here. So I'm gonna pull a couple cards and I'm gonna open this. I don't know if I'm gonna be posting this video. It depends on what this is. But I wanna lay some cards out. I'll move my laptop so you can see that I'm not making it up. For some reason that felt important to say. So what is about to happen? Okay. It's concealed. Oh my God, hold on. I'll show you. Okay. So Bethany's dad was a lawyer. If you've followed our little friendship group journey, you'll know that this was this big part of the journal that Bethany made. Earlier today, you can literally look at my previous videos. Before today, I was not wearing this bracelet. I just put it on this morning. I did not know what was in this. I did not know she was sending this. And this is very significant for a reason I'm not going to share, but she knows something that happened earlier today. I don't think this one needs explanation. wanted you all here today. Under my humble. Nine of Wands in reverse. When you find friends that make it feel safe to be vulnerable, like standing under their umbrella. Then even the worst times that you've went through, you don't have to juggle alone. The key to friendship is safe vulnerability, like standing under the umbrella. When you find friendships that make it safe to be vulnerable, that prove to you that it's safe to be vulnerable, that is the key to knowing. That is God's proof that you don't have to handle it alone anymore. Friendships are God's proof at the end of the storm that you were never actually walking alone. Judgment in reverse. You were never actually walking alone. Thinking you were, but misjudging that. And judgment in reverse, lack of finality. It's not over till it's over. I love it. Thank you. I'm hanging it on my desk right here. But that's why I was laughing. So, okay, so the wound of the rustic key. We're going to start up here. I'm only using a 6-sided die because I'm only using 2 decks. And we're going to have tarot be odd numbers and sacred woundings archetypes, or sacred woundings regular, be even numbers. And then also keep in mind this side is the blueprint and this side is the reckoning. So this is the foundation. This is what needs to happen. Okay, so the wound of the rustic key. Readiness met by a locked door. This wound forms when you finally feel prepared to step forward, only to find the path blocked or the timing off. You've done the work, felt the call, but something won't open. It can leave you doubting your readiness, questioning your purpose, and aching with the weight of unexpressed momentum. Okay, so we're unpacking. If you feel like this is an energy that you relate to, this reading is going to be for you. So we're going to start up here. 2, so right here. With 2, so this deck. Fear of being perceived. Okay, fear of being perceived is related to this. Shows up as anxiety about how others view you, often rooted in past criticism or feeling misunderstood. May manifest as self-consciousness, people-pleasing, or hiding your true self, urging you to embrace authenticity and release the need for validation. So we don't know what it's connected to yet. We just know that this is a piece of it. So if you're staying around, you feel like you have this key and you're like, why is the door not opening? And underlying energy is either healing or addressing or a past wound of fear of being perceived. So from here, we're going to go, I'm going to do the outside boxes first. So we're going to go 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're down here with same deck again. Needing to address a gaslighting wound. And the checkerboard, I want to point out as well, will show up as persistent feeling of confusion, self-doubt, and disoriented sense of reality, often after being manipulated into questioning your perceptions and experiences. This wound manifests as insecurity, anxiety, and a lack of trust in your own judgment. So it's interesting because these are all in a row too, like steps. And we don't have anything that goes with it yet, so we can't say too much, but we know this is like the labyrinth here, right? And this is like a barrier blocking it out. So I feel like we're going to be making an X with these two. And what this X is whatever X was over this door. So it may be X marks the spot, or it may be X as in the locked door can now open with this understanding. So one or the other. We'll figure out when these two cards come out. So we're here. 1, 2, 3. We're going here to the bridge side with the third deck. So then we're going to go to tarot. Seven of Pentacles, patience, seeing something through, proving you're worthy of the door unlocking because you've had to prove your worth externally so many times that this time you proved it internally as to X out any need for external validation or confirmation or approval. Interesting. So from here, 2. So we have this. So 1, 2, we're going right here. 4 with this deck. Interesting. So we're getting another one of the wounds decks for this X. Identity crisis. Interesting. Shows up as confusion or uncertainty about your true identity, leading to a lack of direction or purpose. May manifest as questioning your values, beliefs, and place in the world, often triggered by major life transitions or feeling deeply disconnected from your authentic self. So we have one X left, one corner of the X left to fill in here. So far, fear of being perceived, identity crisis, gaslighting wound. So far, what was blocking this door from opening was others' projections onto you, and others' definition of you didn't match your authentic self. So there's like a catching up of perception, or there is a disconnection from any care about being perceived. So we're here. 1. So what's connected to it? 6. So we're going back to this. Throat chakra in reverse, flipped right out. Show up as difficulty expressing yourself, speaking your truth, or feeling heard, leaving you silenced or misunderstood. It may manifest as a fear of judgment, trouble communicating, or holding back your authentic voice. And that's, I'm just going to put it up right, and that's connected to identity crisis. So it feels like you weren't able to express who you were truly and authentically because others' perceptions of you was different than the reality, and they were not believing the reality. They were gaslighting. They were trying to project. They were saying, no, that's not you. This is you. And when you got sick of dealing with that, you just said, you know what? I'm just going to hide. I'm just going to hide. That way, I'm not arguing with people about who I actually am. And I just get to be that without others' opinions on it. So we're here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're right under the 7 of Pentacles. And we're with tarot. Interesting. A lot of tarot on the side of the blueprint, as opposed to a lot of the wounds card on the side of the reckoning. And that can still kind of change. Death in reverse. Interesting. So a rebirth. All of this is leading to a rebirth. It's giving phoenix rising, right? Maybe the phoenix looks like a regular bird. And then when it rises up on fire, everyone's like, oh, that's not a regular bird. It feels like that. Because they had tried to gaslight you into believing that you were a regular bird, hypothetically. And you just kind of said, okay, I'll walk around as a regular bird until it's time to rise up in the flames. And that seems to be what's happening with this rebirth card. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're over here with a wound card again. Self-concept wound. That makes sense. And that's the bridge here. Patience on this side of the bridge, self-concept wound on this side of the bridge. Being patient until it was time to rise as the phoenix and make everyone realize, oh, you weren't a regular bird. Shows up as fragile or distorted sense of self, feeling disconnected from your identity or struggling to see your value. May manifest as insecurity, self-doubt, or seeking approval, rooted in low confidence and a misunderstanding of your worth. Yeah, because you had to hide. It's almost like when you were walking around as a regular bird for so long, you started to believe you were one of the pigeons. And that's not to say anybody's less than anyone else. I'm just saying in terms of spiritual awareness, it's like you had to hide it into almost actually embodying it. But now you're remembering that fire is being relit. So the fire is being relit. You're about to realize you never needed the key for the door because you were always meant to just stand in front of it and have the door melt away in front of you. But you also now realize you had the key, but that you never needed a key outside of you. Okay, so we were here. 2, 1, 2. So we're whatever's connected to this death card here. 5, tarot. It's so interesting how that came out. Seven of Wands in reverse. Rebirth through, I almost want to say boundaries, like knowing where other people project their truth and where your truth actually is, and having the spiritual insight and the wisdom to be able to detach and say, hey, that could be your truth and that may be what you believe, but it doesn't have to affect my truth. It feels like that is what the Seven of Wands is. 3, 1, 2, 3. So we're up there in the corner with tarot. Again, interesting. Oh, and that was the X here. Okay. So that makes sense. To finish out this lesson, you had to have the footing or the pillar of that's your truth. You can do that over there, but you're going to do it over there, and I'm going to be over here. And your truth is not going to affect my truth. It feels like that was the last X on the door. And when the X is on the door, it's when you realize you have the key, but you don't need the key because your light, your fire, that flame from the phoenix is actually just going to burn the door down. So you have the key and you're like fitting the key in the door and you're like, wait a minute. And then door burns down because you're finally perceiving yourself irregardless of anyone else's perceptions correctly. They gave you this broken mirror and tried to convince you that you were broken. And you let this sit with you for a while because you weren't able to express. You had to walk around like a regular bird. So this gaslighting wound is really key here because it's what kept you in holding before Phoenix time was ready. Where were we? I think we were up here, right? Okay, so which 6? Oh, no, it was tarot. I already did it. It was tarot. Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Learning to see yourself as valuable, irregardless of perception. So again, self-value and maybe lack thereof it in the past is connected to being perceived. So the devaluing of yourself that you once experienced wasn't really even your view on yourself. It was what others made you feel about themselves, likely because of that's the way they felt about themselves. So now we're down here in this corner. Tarot. Judgment. You're realizing that you get the final judgment call on what comes out through your mouth, through your energy, through your actions. And you don't have to have anyone's approval for that. You're no longer balancing their energy and yours. You're sitting in yours. and that's final. You had gaslighting wound and judgment. You have the final call on what you accept as truth and what you don't. And now, because of this journey, you know that. So now we're going to go into the spirals here. We're going to start with this. Actually, we were here, so let's start with this as number 1. 3. 1, 2, 3. So we're right here with tarot. Right there with tarot. I pulled 2, so I'm just going to take 2. I didn't mean to. 5 of Swords in reverse and 2 of Pentacles in reverse. The rebirth came from rebuilding. The rebirth came from you had to clear away everything so that all you could hear was your own voice, was your own opinion on yourself. You had to clear everything else away. So anything that had to come to an end was just not in alignment with this Queen of Pentacles upright. So in this corner, the rebirth came from destruction. The rebirth came from clearing everything away so you had space to rebuild. Rebuild what? Your perception on yourself. You had to, if the building was built based off of everyone else's view on you, you had to knock the whole building down and rebuild it from scratch. That's what this is. So we're here. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're right here on the reckoning spiral with tarot. Interesting. So this card is literally, oh, never mind. This is tarot too. Temperance in reverse. The reckoning was the imbalance. The reckoning was it had to get to the extreme of the whole building being built so that you could say, no, that's not right. And you could knock the whole thing down. Extreme imbalance one way or the other. You had to fully immerse yourself in, okay, but am I what they say I am? Am I the version of myself that they make me feel like I am? You sat in it. That's temperance in reverse. You sat in the darkness and you said, okay, let me see how I really feel about myself by just deleting everything else that would lead me away from that, from the ability to sit with that. And in doing that, you restructured your own self-concept. So we're here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're right above it now with the wound stack. Humiliation wound. I'm going to take this one too because it's on the self-concept, so I feel like it's kind of connected. I'm going to put it down here. Humiliation wound, throat chakra, and identity crisis. People made you feel ashamed for using your voice to express your authenticity. And that's what made you start to have to walk around like, okay, I'll just pretend I'm a regular bird then, as opposed to a phoenix. They made you feel ashamed for expressing who you are. And then gossip and slander in reverse, yeah, over self-concept wound. So needing to disengage from, I can't make them believe certain things. I can't make them not project. I can't make them see things the way I do. So either you disconnected from it, or maybe even it was corrected in some way, like the perception was corrected. But either way, gossip and slander came out in reverse. So it no longer can affect you, even if it's happening, because you're perceiving yourself above and beyond the value you're placing on anyone else's perception of you. 3. 1, 2, 3. So we're on the other side here. And temperance in reverse is the first guard at the gate that we got out of these 4. So it was very necessary to have the imbalance to collect this guard to go away. Okay, I've checked off the box that it's been completely dark and I've sat with it and I know how I perceive myself now. So we're here with tarot. That's not tarot. So this is, I don't want to take that one. Okay. 3 of Swords on its side. And 8 of Swords on its side. So see how all the swords are like aimed at temperance? You had to really sit with it and feel it. You couldn't think, that's what it was. You could not think your way into self-perception because of how everyone else had projected onto you or traumatized you or made you feel or made you think or made you fear. You had to feel your way into a new self-concept. And it feels like you had to feel your way into it because if you think about it, you'll loop back into trying to understand things that you won't be able to understand because it lies in other people's perception. And it feels like you just don't align with the way that they perceive things, so you can't understand it. I mean, could you? Sure, but is it a kind of a waste of time because what's the point trying to understand something that you're not gonna think like that anyway? So it feels like you understand it to the amount that you need to understand it in order to release it. The rest of the journey was to feel your way through. How do I really feel? What do I no, what do I view in terms of self-concept about myself in different feeling settings? When I'm sad, do I hate myself? When I'm angry, do I turn on myself? It's like you were tested in those ways, and that's how this guard stands down. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we're at the top guard with the wound card. Grounding deficit in reverse. So needing to get very grounded in not escaping the feelings. If you had to feel your way through, that means when a feeling arose, you can't escape it. You got to feel it. That's why it's coming up. So you got to, 1, not view it as a punishment, and 2, be ready to feel it. Shows up as feeling disconnected from the present moment, so needing to stay in the present moment to do this. Often causing confusion, anxiety, or lack of clarity. You may struggle with focus, feel scattered or overwhelmed, as if unable to anchor into your body and physical reality. So that's what got this guard to stand down, was being grounded enough that when difficult emotions arose, you didn't try to escape them. Okay, so we're there. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're at the bottom, right below it. 5, tarot. I almost want to say, what was the underlying difficulty with grounding, or what was the energy that immediately made you be like, no, I want to escape this. This is the emotion I want to escape. One or the other. 5 of Wands in reverse. Not wanting to sit with all the thoughts, especially ones that would battle each other. Like it was just, it wasn't peaceful to sit with the energy. And it was easier to busybody yourself and not be present in the moment. Got to do this, got to do that. Oh, here's a project. There's a thing to do. Got to take care of this or call that person. It feels like that was happening. But if you think about it, those urges were connected to an emotion that had risen. And in that moment, you would have rather busybodied yourself away from it. When you allowed emotions to come to the surface and you said, okay, let me not do the dishes. Why am I agitated? When you start doing that, that's when this guard stands down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're down here with the wound stack. So this is in between gaslighting wound and judgment. Sacral chakra. Yeah, that makes sense because that's self-identity. And it's next to gaslighting and judgment. Feels like if you're still listening to this, people were very convincing about their perception of you, almost to the point where you were like, do I give off that vibe even though it's unintended? That kind of thing will show up as difficulty expressing emotions, creativity, or connecting with pleasure, leaving you feeling disconnected from your passions and desires. It may manifest as emotional numbness, guilt, or struggles with intimacy and relationships. I mean, yeah, when they're gaslighting you and perceiving you incorrectly and locking you out because they don't want you to express who you are authentically, and they make you feel shame for that and gossip about that to the point where you have to disconnect from that in order to see yourself as worthy and let yourself in, of course you're going to have problems with relationships. um, Sacral chakra here in this corner in between those other two cards really makes me feel like there was a people pleasing era. Um, Abandoning yourself to not be abandoned by others era. And there's narcissistic abuse on the bottom of the deck and abandonment wound. And inner teenager also feels important. And behind that is unresolved grief. So it does feel like there's a lot here that it's almost like you knew how to perceive yourself, but you wanted to make sure that you did everything you could to allow others to perceive you correctly. You wanted to give them all the data. Whereas now in your season of healing, you're like, okay, it'll show itself because I am who I am. And I'm no longer trying to prove it through shrinking and silencing. And so up here, which deck? 5, so tarot. So this is in between Queen of Pentacles in reverse and fear of being perceived. Page of Pentacles in reverse. Interesting, because they're handing the pentacle to one another and they're both reversed. So I feel like there's a lot of, you're no longer looking at it as that person is going to view me as less than. It's like you, even if you feel like they're going to, it's not something you're thinking about. I feel like a prejudgment. You used to prejudge yourself on others' behalf. Like, okay, how is that person going to incorrectly perceive me? Let me just prepare for it now. Whereas now it feels like you've disconnected from that, if this is for you. So I want to pull one last card now to go on top of Rustic Key to wrap everything up. Which deck? Okay, so the Wounds deck. Let's see. Devaluation wound. Yeah. This wound often shows up as feeling less than, often, that's literally what we just said, often from being idealized, then devalued. It can lead to self-criticism, fear of rejection, and trouble accepting love. Worth feels conditional, driving people-pleasing, self-sabotage, and constant need for reassurance. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of just a summary. So the key to get in the door is not the key. The key to get in the door is you just burning down the door by valuing yourself so highly, but not in like a cocky way, more just in like a, I know that I'm worthy just because I exist and not because I earn or do or prove. When you can stand there in front of that door, solid in that energy, you have the key. The key will unlock the door. You found the right door. But as you go to stick it in the door, you know you're not going to need it because the fire from who you are, that phoenix, is just going to melt the door. And you're going to realize the journey was never about being locked out and needing to force your way in. It was about becoming so solid in yourself, even though you went through this obstacle course of false perceptions of you forced by other people, you still staying true to yourself and burning down that door at the end, hypothetically, that was the point. That was the point. So again, this is the Foundation Blueprint mat, Sacred Wounding, Sacred Archetypes, and a regular tarot, and a 6-sided die. And thank you for watching. I will see you soon.